Morning, everyone, and welcome to our bonus Tuesday Talk in April. I'm excited when we get to do 2 Tuesday Talks in a month. So really excited to have Heather Smith. I had actually contacted her about just to be the regular April date, but she had a conflict, and she said, well, what about this date? And I was like, yeah, we can do that. So I first met Heather on Marshall's campus. She worked for our rec center. She was one of the managers, and she has since started her own business, which I'll let her tell you as much about that as she wants to. But Heather's going to talk to us today about exercise and healthy eating. And one thing that I've always admired about Heather is she's obviously like the image of fitness, right? But she always makes it so accessible to those of us who maybe aren't so much the image of fitness. And so she takes all the intimidation factor out of it, which I think is probably a challenging thing to do, but she does it very well. So with that, I'm going to turn the floor over to Heather, and she's going to give us some tips.
Okay. Thank you, Beth. Awesome. Well, this is an easy lead-in because I thought, well, first I want to introduce myself to you so you know who I am and my health story and why I'm here to share and not necessarily speak with authority, but just share what has worked in my experience and in my business. And then I picked this little brochure up to learn more about your program and what you ladies do, and I was like, oh, I know that man on the front. That's my dad. So, my dad, I guess, came to speak with you. Was anyone here to listen to Joe Wyatt, Dr. Wyatt? Yeah. Okay. So he's a psychologist, and this is actually a perfect lead-in because my health journey, my fitness journey really started when I was about this tall. And very, very fortunate that my parents raised me with a mindset that you really, really need to take care of your body. If you want to enjoy your body, enjoy your life, then it all starts with movement and being mindful about what you put into your body and what you do with your body. And I'll go ahead and pass credit on back. My grandmother, who passed away at 96 a few years ago, was on the University of Charleston women's basketball team. So she played ball and skirt to here. You can picture, call it my grandmother was a college basketball star. So I think that she probably planted the seeds early in my dad, and my mom was awesome too, drug me along to all the church basement workouts. I had a little matching leotard, and I would go and do jumping jacks, and I had a Barbie record LP that I worked out to when I am not kidding you, when I was this tall. And I would put on shows, do my own workouts for my parents, and make them watch me jump rope and do crunches as a small child. So the seed was planted. My dad would take me to Nautilus. I grew up in Hurricane, and he would take me to it was like the only gym in the region, I think at that point. But there was a little Nautilus facility there in Taze Valley, and they would bring me in, and I wasn't old enough to be on the equipment, so I would have to stand there and watch. And if the manager wasn't looking, sometimes we would sneak and let me sit on the equipment. But that was my exposure. We went on family bike rides. We were just generally active. My parents made sure I ate fruits and veggies, which growing up in small town West Virginia is not always something that happens, especially not nowadays. So I'm very thankful that they just planted a seed. I obviously was born to lead exercise and health because I feel very compelled and very passionate to share it. But they definitely pushed it along, so that was great. So that's my dad. And he's a psychologist, so maybe I picked up a thing or two along the lines on how to talk with people about their feelings on their health. So that might have helped me a little bit, I don't know. I'll give him a little bit of credit for that. But my education was through Marshall. I got my undergraduate degree in adult fitness at Marshall. I graduated in 2000. And then I went on to pursue my master's degree in exercise physiology. I had a really incredible experience. Marshall University has a phenomenal exercise science program. And I'm a little bit out of touch now because I haven't worked there in a few years, but I know even after I graduated, moved on, was working at Marshall, that department really put out some really, really high quality exercise physiologists. I only knew what that major was because my parents are avid newspaper readers. I'm the different generation now, or that's slipping away. You probably know this from your kids and grandkids. But there was always a newspaper, morning and evening, on the kitchen counter, and I picked it up one day and saw an article. Oh geez, have to give my dad credit again. So he always had the paper there, picked it up and saw an article about an exercise physiologist in Charleston who was doing fitness testing to let people know where they were in their fitness, and how that could predict how healthy they were. Because health and fitness are not exactly the same thing. So I started studying, and I was like, okay, this is a real job that people can do, a real professional career. It's not just an aerobics instructor, at the Y. It's a real job. So, and there's an increasing need for it in our country today because of the obesity epidemic. So I studied, went to school, got a great education, and then I left Marshall to work in a corporate wellness setting at Dow Chemical in Charleston. My grandfather had worked as a chemical engineer there, and so I was thrilled to go back and serve at the Dow, formerly Carbide plant, and provide wellness program for the employees. And we did weight loss, just general health, fitness testing for the employees, you name it, fun, recreation things, just to keep the morale and the health of the employees up and improve their productivity. So I did that, had a great experience. I worked in personal training, group fitness, all that good stuff. That was a lot of fun. And then I had an opportunity to come back to Huntington and work at Huntington Physical Therapy. Anyone ever been to HPT? Yeah, okay. So good people there. And I worked with the physical therapy program there, not as a therapist, but I did the conditioning that happens after therapy with their patients. And then I got a call from Marshall. This is a couple years after my graduation, and they said, "We got this job. Want to come back?" I said, "Sure." So I went back to Marshall. I stayed for 12 years. Had a long career in fitness at Marshall. I was the fitness director at the original Gullickson Hall gym. I don't know if anyone's been there, but it's moldy oldie. And then I transferred to Marshall Recreation Center, the big on the corner spot. And ran the fitness and aquatics programs there until 2016. And a couple of reasons for my departure and starting my own business. I just really wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I think I always kind of wanted that. But then I had two babies, two pretty little girls. My oldest, Kate, was born in 2012. And then my younger one, Kirsten, was born in 2014. And so I was at Marshall working probably 60 hours a week with a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old that I got to see for probably 2.5 hours each evening. Not a healthy situation. Maybe some moms can do it, but I could not. And I kept it up for a few years, but I had a very demanding, very high-pressure job. Not working for Marshall. This is a whole side story, but I work for a private recreation center management company out of Washington, D.C. at Marshall. So I decided, maybe there's more here. Maybe I could do something on my own. And then there was a God-given gift that just dumped into my lap. A dear friend, who was actually my pastor's wife, said, "Heather, you should be a health coach." I said, "What?" She said, "You could be a health coach. You love people, you love helping people, and you love health." And I said, "Well, I think you're crazy because I got this job that I never get to see my kids. I don't even hardly have time to, to do anything, breathe, let alone start a business." But it just, I couldn't let go of the thought of it. And my friend had lost 80 pounds on the program that this medically directed wellness program she was following, and I was so inspired by her. And she was leading others, helping others as a mentor, and I thought, okay, there's something to this. So I started researching her program and realized it aligned very nicely with my exercise science studies from Marshall. And it was very holistic, very healthy, and I said, I could probably get behind this. And then I pictured my life in a different place where I could spend more than 2 or 3 hours a day with my children, who were then at this point 2 and 4. And I had missed, they were dropped off at daycare, when the sun was coming up, and picked up when it was dark many days, which is a little unnatural if you're a working mom, you feel me. A tough place to be. So I just jumped off a cliff. My husband's a teacher, a Capital County teacher at Huntington High, so we certainly weren't wealthy by any stretch, but I said, we need to do this. I need to jump off a cliff and start a business and and see where it takes me. And he said, oh my gosh, okay, okay, do it. He was very nervous, as I was, but I really felt convicted to help people with their health in a different way. I was spending hours behind a computer screen with looking at spreadsheets and budgets and buying equipment and human resource management. That's a nice way to say hiring, firing, training, dealing with employees. And I said, I can do a lot more than this. This is not, I think I can help people with their health. I can really connect and help people. So I decided, to quit my job like a crazy person. I had a very secure job and start this little business. And I was able to have oodles and oodles more time with my children, which was amazing. I'll never forget the first day I picked my girls up just after a half day at school as opposed to a big long day. And my 4-year-old, who was in pre-K at the time, said, Mommy, can I feel like this every day? Like this, up like this? And I was like, okay, I made the right choice. It's like this every day. And so now I have a lot of time freedom. So that's kind of my history there. I have always been a pretty healthy person, but at that stage, I was, even though I was a healthy weight and active and generally ate healthy, I was under a lot of physical strain due to, the emotional strain of working hard, long hours, high pressure, being away from the home, having to rely on my husband to do stuff that's life stuff, cooking and cleaning and stuff that I kind of wanted to do for my family, but I didn't have the opportunity to. So, not being complained. I realized that I had let my health kind of slip to the side. While I still kind of on the outside looked pretty healthy, I was very stressed, body aches and pains, just fatigue, really, really bad fatigue, because I would come home, I would put the kids in bed after a long day at work, and then I would open my computer and my pile of work that I had brought home from the office. And so then I wasn't sleeping, and then just really tough. I had let my health habits slide. And so I said, okay, well, this is the opportunity. If I'm going to start a business helping people one-on-one with their health, then I got to get myself in check and do it with them. So, so I started, walking the walk and taking care of myself, taking time to relax, taking time to sleep, time to, really prepare healthy meals again, and just be well. So reprioritize. So that's kind of where, that's really where I came from with my health and my business journey. So that was incredible. So one of the things that I teach is to sort of zoom out on health and not worry about exactly what you're eating or your weight on the scale or how many days a week you exercise, but really just kind of zoom out and learn about the macro habits of health. And so that's what I work with my clients. I do one-on-one with everybody. People here in Huntington, I have a lot of clients here because we're local, and then I have clients all over the country because everything I do is remote. We do phone calls, video chats, Facebook, email, you name it, with people that way. Because what I've found too is people aren't always able to get up and go to a workout class or make great decisions with their store. So what I needed to do is find a system that would make it easy for people to make healthy choices. How many of you guys are exercisers? You walk or go to a class or anything? Wonderful. Okay, good. So that's kind of a good place to start, but that's not the whole picture. Another thing that I noticed after working years and years in fitness was that a lot of people came into the gym month after month, year after year exercising, but they always looked the same. They always struggled with, the same. Maybe got a little stronger, lifting the weights, maybe could walk a couple more times around the track with their fitness as it improved, but overall general health didn't always improve. So that's when I got into really sort of studying the macro habits that would help you improve your overall health, because if you're just exercising, it's not enough to be truly optimally healthy at any age. So I coach, my youngest client is a 10-year-old girl, and my oldest client, I believe she's 77. So I coach all ages, everybody, men, women, it's probably 50-50 men, women too, which is some people are surprised by. So anyhow, so we have to look at the macro habits. So that's what I'm going to share with you. Any questions so far? I would love to just be interrupted with questions if you have them. Because if you're like me, you think, oh, I'm curious about that. But then you wait till the end and you forget what your question was. Anything at all you're curious about? We'll expand on any area. I'm a free-flowing guest speaker. That's how my brain works. So the macro habits, there are 6 of them. They are, 1, healthy weight management. And I can send this to y'all by email if you would like afterwards, if you don't want to take notes. Healthy weight management, healthy eating and hydration, healthy motion, healthy sleep, healthy mind, and healthy surroundings, or you could say healthy community, which is nice. You guys have here, you have a great healthy social community, it looks like. And this building, by the way, does anyone live here? Actually live here at Woodlands? No? Oh my gosh, I haven't been here. This is amazing. I was like, I had to Google it because I didn't know where to come today. And I was like, the Woodlands is a beautiful community. I had no clue. Anyway, it's nice. I'm sure you have some friends here already familiar. So some tips. I'll give you some tips on each of the 6 macro habits of health so that you can get some takeaways, some things that you want to maybe implement in your day. Once we go through these, I'm going to go through a little mini workout with you guys. Nothing, we're not going to get sweaty or I'm not going to hurt you. But we're going to do a mini workout that I call an everyday workout. And we'll try that together. So hopefully you can get some exercises in your mind that you can try when you're at home, just on a regular day. And then I'll also do a little relaxation exercise with you as well at the end, because that's a health habit that is quite often overlooked. So we'll do that when we're finished. We'll do a little deep breathing, close our eyes, do a little relaxation, and I will leave you with that so you can walk out of here feeling comfortable and happy. Light as a feather. We'll see. Okay, so number 1, healthy weight management. This is just about really lowering our risk for disease. Our body mass index, our BMI, is a number that means, that compares our height and our weight. That is a real high correlation with our risk for disease, especially diseases like cardiovascular disease and diabetes. So our weight really needs to be in a healthy range to be our healthiest self. And when I say that, not to be able to look great in a bikini, I mean to lessen your likelihood of developing type 2 diabetes or having a stroke. That's why we care about the weight. Truly, really and truly. So some simple things you can do for healthy weight management, and I try not to give too many ideas because then I feel like a confused mind does nothing. So I'm just going to give you 2 or 3 for each of these. So it's just simple, and you can say, okay, that's 1 or 2 things I can do. So first thing for healthy weight management is to eat small meals and fuel your body every 2 to 3 hours. Does anyone do that right now? Eat every 2 to 3 hours? It is really uncommon. I'm impressed. So that is the most efficient way to eat. And if you disagree, then ask a newborn baby. That is the way we came out of our body wanting to eat, because that is the way nature intended us to fuel our bodies. Wah, it's been 2 hours. Wah, it's been 2 hours. That's what we should eat every 2 to 3 hours. Now you can't have a giant meal every 2 to 3 hours. That would get us in trouble. But that is the best way. So some people have to put a little reminder, like a little alarm on their phone, or set a oven timer, or just write a note in the kitchen, stick it on the car dashboard, whatever it takes. Remind yourself to eat something and spread your nutrition throughout the day, because that helps to balance blood sugar and fuel your body in a way that is steady as opposed to sporadic. Really eating 3 times a day is kind of sporadic. Not ideal. So second thing, yes?
So how many hours before you go to sleep should you stop this crazy?
That's a good question. I love that one. So if you are a person who tends to eat unhealthy foods or to overeat late in the evening, then you need to set an earlier time, like maybe 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. If you are making healthy choices and you kind of have that under control, then it doesn't really matter how late, to be honest. It really doesn't, as long as you're eating every 2 to 3 hours all day long. And I tell my clients, you need to eat your first meal within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up. That's a good general rule, because then your body has some fuel to get started and get you moving more. long as you're going all day. I have a lot of clients who are doctors and nurses, and they, maybe their last meal of the day has to be 10 o'clock at night, because that's what it takes to eat 6 times a day, and that's okay. And they are losing weight and they're thriving. So it's kind of a misconception that you can't eat late in the evening. But if you're a person that after dinner grabs popcorn and chips and cookies and Hershey Kisses and M&Ms, then you need a rule. And then, if you're not working with a health coach or something, then you need a little bit of more structure. Really good question. So the next thing you can do is choose low glycemic index foods. Is anyone familiar with glycemic index? Okay, you probably have a diabetic in your life. That's usually how people learn about that. Oops. So glycemic index simplified is just how quickly a food makes you hungry, allows you to get hungry again. Those are foods that are digested real quickly, they raise your blood sugar real quickly, which are good in a diabetic emergency, but in general, they are not good. So foods that are a little more, they have essentially less sweet, less sugar. That's another simple way to know. So if we're going to choose a fruit like a tomato or an avocado, it has a lower glycemic index, and if we eat that food with 100 calories of that, let's say, as opposed to 100 calories of pineapple, which is a really high glycemic index fruit, then we're going to get hungry a lot sooner after the pineapple than we are after the tomatoes or the avocado. So that's an example. You can do a lot of reading on glycemic index if you would like to go Google friendly with that, but that's maybe another talk to go into. But that's a good thing to start sort of studying. Some alternative foods that are low glycemic index, great choices, and you guys can share yours if you have favorites, are cauliflower. I do riced cauliflower as opposed to regular rice because you get an extra serving of veggies and it tastes almost the same. You can rice it yourself, make it tiny, or you can buy it in a bag at Kroger, which is what I like to do, and just make that as opposed to regular rice because it's a lower glycemic index. It'll make you feel fuller longer. Zoodles are another great choice as opposed to regular pasta to do zucchini noodles. I bought my little spiralizer, I think at Big Lots for about $6 or $8. You literally stick a zucchini in and twist, 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 and it comes out with like in 2 or 3 minutes a whole plate full of zoodles, which are a great alternative to pasta. So those are some of my favorite tricks. Spaghetti squash is another big one. If you want to reduce your glycemic index for the day, then choose, instead of pasta, good old-fashioned spaghetti squash. Really easy to make. You can make a whole squash, bake it in the oven, scoop it out in a bowl, and eat it all week. That's a good one. I put pasta sauce, meat sauce right on top of the spaghetti squash and eat it in place of pasta. Those are some of the options you can start thinking about. Yeah.
Have you ever used the Dreamfields pasta?
No, tell me about this.
The Dreamfields pasta, you can get it at Kroger or Walmart.
Okay.
And I had, my daughter had the gestational diabetes, and when
Okay.
she went to the nutritional counseling, they said that this Dreamfields pasta, your body processes it differently, and it doesn't have, and I checked, and a friend of mine, her son-in-law has diabetes,
Mhm.
and said the same thing with him, that where he went, they said it was Dreamfields.
Good.
And so it comes in, I see it in the spaghetti noodles,
Okay.
little macaroni, and whatever, but they said on the box it doesn't say like low carb or whatever,
Okay.
but the dietitian's nutrition said. So I make macaroni salad with it, I put it in pasta fagioli, I use it a lot.
Wonderful.
So if you don't care for the zoodles and whatever, but it's on
Yes.
Dreamfields.
Greenfield.
Greenfield. Greenfield.
Dreamfields.
Greenfield.
Dream.
It's either on the top shelf or the bottom shelf. You look at the next door, it's not San Georgia, or whatever it's called. Yeah, but anyhow,
Interesting. I
you
love
might
that.
want to check that, but I've heard from more than one.
Okay.
dietitian.
Well, that's very good. So alternatives like that are just so valuable. Beans is another thing. Like white beans are a great alternative to pasta. You can put sauces on them. Use it instead with a dish, like a stir fry instead of in place of noodles in an Asian dish. You can do white beans. You can do it with pasta sauce. And instead of fettuccine noodles, you can do Alfredo sauce over beans. lots of different, think outside the box. Lots of different foods are good to try, and you may love it. So I would challenge you to try one of these. To mix a veggie that you wouldn't normally eat with a main course and see what happens, and it's pretty interesting what will come of it. But yeah, really good choices. Green fields. I do a taco salad without the shell, without the chips. Just do greens, like a plate of greens, and then put all the taco toppings on it. That's another way you can reduce high glycemic index foods from your eating. A corn tortilla is not super nutrient dense, but the greens are. So lots and lots of different ways you can switch it up. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorites is the spaghetti squash, and I put it in, like when I make homemade turkey noodle soup or chicken noodle soup.
Yes.
Instead of the noodles, I do the spaghetti squash, and I prefer it.
Very good.
It's delicious. It's
Okay.
really- And it freezes well, so I freeze it in like small jars, and so I make my make my base, and then I just heat it and put my spaghetti sauce.
That's a perfect idea. Cabbage is wonderful in a noodle soup as well. Chopped cabbage instead of noodles. And I'm not trying to say noodles are the devil, but in general, it's a food that we tend to overeat on, and it's a food that is less nutrient dense, than all these good veggies we should be eating. And so sometimes it's good to replace some of them. I don't want to demonize the noodles in our life, but yeah, so that's a good one. Cabbage, a lot of veggies can mimic noodles, so that's a great one. And the more veggies we eat, almost the better. There's a lot of research. This is plant-based protein, and of course the fiber we get from and vitamins we get from vegetables are very, very healing to the body. So those are some tips, some healthy weight management tips. Number 2, healthy eating and hydration. It should be your goal to drink at least 64 ounces of plain water each day, or maybe a little lemon or lime, that's fine. It's 64 ounces of water. The average person doesn't do that. That is really important. So some ways that you can get your 64 ounces of water. Does anyone do that right now? You know that you do?
Is unsweet tea comparable?
Well, I have my clients do 64 of plain, and then you can have your unsweet tea. But that's not a bad choice. It's really not. Especially if it's herbal tea and there's no caffeine.
I do caffeine free.
I encourage people, if 64 ounces sounds daunting, start drinking 1 extra glass of water per day. Just add 1. Take baby steps. An easy way to do this is to drink a glass of water before you brush your teeth in the morning. Like, don't even pick up the toothbrush, and maybe even before breakfast. Drink a full glass of water. Challenge yourself. It is harder than you think to remember and then to make it happen consistently. But once you start doing it, it'll be easy because you've tied the habit with another habit. You're not going to forget to brush your teeth probably. So if you don't forget to brush your teeth and the water comes with the toothbrushing, it's going to happen every day. It's a great place to start. Probably not do it after the evening toothbrushing, because then you're going to have to get up and go to the restroom in the middle of the night, and we want to try not to do that. Another thing is to keep your water bottle at your desk, or by your favorite chair where you watch TV, or on your porch where you like to sit. Wherever you spend, I always say when I'm doing this with like at an employee wellness talk, I say keep it at your workstation. Keep a container, an insulated cup or a water bottle there. If it's near you and you're seeing it all day long, you're much more likely to consume that water. Not always. Sometimes it sits there and doesn't get touched, but at least you're starting the habit. The other thing is to keep water in your hand at a social event. Keeps you from snacking, keeps you from grabbing a beverage that's not healthy, that has sugar in it maybe. So to just have the water in your hand if you're at a baby shower, or you're at someone's wedding, or you're at a birthday party, it's just a great thing to do, just to sip on water. Keeps your hands busy. And then if you're a person who can't remember, you just, whatever you try to do, you can't remember to get the water in, you can get some rubber bands, and 4 rubber bands is plenty if you have a 16-ounce water bottle. And put the 4 rubber bands around your water bottle, and every time you empty the water bottle, you drink it down, pop a rubber band off and put it by the sink. And that way, okay, I got 3 more. Drink it down, pop the rubber band off, put it by the sink. And then of course you're stuck drinking out of a water bottle all day, and that's not something, some of it's like out of glass. But it's good to be able to to monitor yourself. that one of my clients told me about a neat little app. I have an iPhone, so I don't know what kind of electronic you have, but it's called Plant Nanny. And this little app you can download for free, and it has a little teeny tiny plant, and it's just a little sprout. And every time you drink a glass of water, you tap the app, and the little plant grows into a beautiful little plant as you drink your water throughout the day and you start fresh each day. So there are lots of tricks you can do to drink your water, but it's vital. Hydration will keep all your body functions smooth and smoother.
Has anyone done any research on the relationship between body weight and water consumption? Should people who weigh more drink more because fat is metabolically active, and presumably it would take some water to be active?
Yeah, so I have, here's how I coach my clients. Yes, there is some research, that indicates you need
And you
more
can
if
get too
you're
much
bigger.
too. I've heard of people dying from being
Mhm.
hyperhidrosis or whatever it is.
Yeah,
That's
water
not it, but-
intoxication is a real
Yeah,
thing.
that can happen too.
For certain. So drinking half your body weight in ounces is not a bad rule of thumb. Now, most people are nowhere near that, so that's what we talk about, the 64 ounces minimum. But I have a client right now, actually, who's approximately 400 pounds. He's on the higher end of the spectrum, and so he needs a little more than 64 ounces of water daily. So half your body weight in ounces is also a very good rule of thumb. If 64 is easy for you, then that's your next goal. So, really good question. Healthy motion is the next thing. So we've got to keep our body strong and flexible. We can't just eat right and then sit all day, because then our muscles and our bones get weak in our cardiovascular system. So to really be well, we've got to think about some things we can do to incorporate more healthy movement into our day. So we'll go through a little workout here in just a minute, 5 minutes, but then I'm going to go through kind of some simple tips. I always say, if you're not doing anything right now for exercise, start walking 5 minutes a day. Even if it's just indoors, in the mall, or if you're just walking up and down your stairs at home, or in a public building, or around the block, 5 minutes a day. Just a good starting point if you are not exercising currently. Or if you are exercising, but that's 30 minutes or an hour, and then the rest of the day you do no movement. That's not healthy either. So get yourself in the evening or afternoon to get up and do a 5-minute walk. Just 5 minutes, take 5. The second thing that's helpful is to move 1 minute of every hour. Again, whether you exercise or not intentionally, if you are sitting for hours on end, when the clock strikes 10:59, then I need to stand up and I need to move. Even if I just stand, wiggle my legs a little bit, stretch my arms, I'm moving for 1 minute of the hour. And I'll give you some things that you can do in those 1 minute time slots too, some ideas. But it's definitely not good to sit for longer than an hour. It's very, there's a lot of research that indicates that it's very dangerous to sit longer than an hour. So, really good thing. So if you're in the movie theater, then you're just gonna have to say, okay, I'm just going to the bathroom. And you can go to the bathroom and you can do some like jumping jacks, whatever you have to do. So that's a big one. And then also stand up while you're on the phone, and then have walking meetings. That's another big thing. And I know many of you are retirees, so you're not in many meetings unless you're planning a charity event or a party or whatever. But walking meetings are super healthy. So maybe it's your neighbor and you're planning, to have dinner or whatever. Have a walking meeting, with that person, and get up and walk around or meet them. Instead of meeting for lunch sometime, try a walking meeting, a walking social, maybe we'll call it. So if you have that person that you like to get together with every week, every once in a while, meet up early or skip lunch that day, do your lunch, a light lunch at home, and take a walk. It's a really great way to connect with someone and have more movement, so you're not just sitting at a table talking. There's a time and place for that, but it's a good way, fun way to add more exercise, more movement. Healthy sleep is the next one. Sleep is a really, really often overlooked component of healthy lifestyle. People are like, just sleep. I hear people say all the time, I'll sleep when I'm dead. I'm like, well, you're going to die a lot sooner, so you're going to get a lot of sleep coming up if you don't let your body sleep. So I'm glad that's your attitude. But yeah, you need to make sure that everybody's sleep needs are a little different, but the general guides are at least 6 hours of sleep, but 7 to 8 hours of sleep is much, much healthier compared to a lot of the, or according to a lot of the studies that are happening on sleep. So some things you can do to get better sleep: drink 1 less cup of coffee per day, or don't drink coffee after noon. Some people have an afternoon or evening coffee, make sure it's decaf, or don't do it in the evening. Tea can fall in that same category. Another thing is to choose a relaxing, non-screen related activity in the evening before bed. Have a bedtime ritual. So not watching the news or watching a movie or watching a show, not scrolling Facebook or not looking at your your computer, but doing something not screen related that is a ritual bedtime. I'm telling myself I'll do this every day before I go to sleep, and it's consistent. That's a good thing. Some examples of your bedtime routine. You could do some bedtime stretches. I do a little 2 or 3 minute stretching routine every night when I'm just when I sit down on my bed to go to sleep. And then reading something inspirational, maybe a Bible devotional, maybe some just a story, a book that you love, reading for a few minutes. Another thing is a gratitude journal. That's something that I do when I'm on point, which is not always, but I like to do. Just write 2 or 3 sentences about experience you had in the day that you're grateful for. Keep a little notepad. A mind dump is also a great thing to do at the end of a day if you're a really busy person, or if you have a lot of people and things to keep up with, or have a lot of stressors, emotional stressors. The notebook by the bed can help you take, okay, I'm worried about this, this, and this that I have to do tomorrow. Take those thoughts, put them on paper so you don't forget, and you don't have to worry about them because they're on the paper, you've dumped them out, now your mind is clear and you can go to sleep. That's really vital. For those of us who are in 20 different directions, a mind dump can be really healthy. So you're not laying there thinking, oh my goodness, I hope I don't forget to pick up the things and drop off the people and everywhere. Healthy sleep is super important. So those are some tips. Anybody else have healthy bedtime rituals you want to share that you think are really good ones? Not so much.
I do, of course, some people not, but I do crochet or knitting a little bit before I go to bed. That winds me down. When
Yes.
I read, I tend to read more and more. I'm still awake.
Yes, I have that problem. I'm like, just one more. Yeah, that's dangerous. It's a slippery slope. Crocheting, knitting, that's a good one. Any others? My grandmother taught me how to do Swedish weaving, and it's like,
Yes.
you do hours and hours of that. But it's a good rhythmic movement that, and every time you start that movement in the evening, you're sending a signal to your brain like it's almost time to lay down. Like, this is our time. We're calm. There you go. Anything else? Yes.
I turn the TV set on and I watch Turner Classic Movies. And sometimes I even tape some of them, and I would go back and watch them again if it happened to be mysteries of everything. Because as crazy as it sounds, my brain will tune into that, and I'll go to sleep, and I will wake up and the TV set will be off of everything like this. But
Oh my gosh.
yeah, I know that sounds crazy, but that's the way my brain is wired. It's just,
Uh-huh.
and I just need something there so that my brain will
Okay.
see it's something else, rather than sit there and go with my brain. You need to do this tomorrow. This needs to be done. That needs to be done. That needs to be done.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
I said it's weird, but it works. So if it works, I'm not going to change. those
Yes.
plans.
That distracts you.
Yeah.
Clears your mind in a
Yes.
different way.
Yes.
That's
As
good.
crazy as this, I know,
Yeah.
I always say, don't have TV sets, don't have electronics on
Mhm.
your TV like this, it's not good for you. And for years, until I kind of retired, after I retired, it's kind of like, I gotta find something here to relax my brain, to get me to shut down. Like this, because I know these people that once the brain gets fried, I can go for 24 hours, because, mommy, I'm dead tired, but the brain doesn't shut down, it just does not want to go to sleep. So that kind of helps me to go to sleep at night.
Right. That's a reset
Yeah,
activity.
yes.
There you go.
One thing, talk about that, I cannot watch TV.
I just listen to
Or
it.
turn it on.
I just turn it down low and I just listen to what they think. It's like I said, for some no reason, my brain will wire into that rather than for my brain to sit there and go, you need to do this tomorrow, this has got to be done, you gotta get this bill paid. And I can just go on and on with it, but my brain, whereas if I kind of roll on my side and kind of tune into that. I'm gonna sleep, like I said, wake up and the TV sets off, or sometimes I'll go wake up and there's something else, and I go, wait a minute, you were not home when I went to sleep. But I guess it's weird, it works for you. Right, but it may not work for you, someone else will.
I use a thing to put it in. It's called Whole Tunes. Have you ever heard of it?
It's
It's
a
a
sound
vibration.
vibration, yeah.
And it's music, but under tone. And I'll go listen to that for 5 minutes.
That's so neat. I have a little, well, I'll show you if I can get it to play, because I'm gonna use it for our meditation at the end. But a little app, a little white noise app, but it's not just white noise, it has, oh goodness, forget to put it on here. Here it is. It has different tones that are supposed to be like neuro relaxing, and I'm not sure exactly how to go with that, but so this is one that's goodness. Let me make this happen here. Let's see. Oh goodness, where is it? So you listen to a rainstorm or a thunderstorm. This is a really cool app. It's free.
What's it called?
It is called, goodness, it's called White Noise.
That's reasonable.
So original.
Oh, white noise app.
Wind chimes.
That would be annoying.
Yeah, me too. I could not fall asleep to that.
No.
No.
Frogs.
Now, does that go off at a certain?
You can set a timer. Or it'll play all night.
Your phone will be
If you're a city person. Train. Like I said, I'm American, so no thank you. The water one kind of makes me want to go potty. I don't think I could do that. Water and fire. Oh, these are mixes. These are combos. But that's just kind of a cool thing. Oops. Now how do I turn this off? Okay. Those are some cool other, things if you need a little sound. Cool, good tips. Anybody else have a great bedtime ritual that helps you get better sleep?
I use a white noise, well, it's not a white noise machine, it's an air purifier, but it has about the same decibel level as
Okay.
those things. And I get purified air to boot.
Wonderful. We could do a whole nother talk on environmental, airborne, yucky stuff. So that's really neat. Good idea. Okay. So some good tips. What about a healthy mind? This is kind of similar, but you want to work on your body and your mind at the same time. And if you're a person who goes to yoga, you know what I mean, or if you are a meditator, you know what I mean. And this is just really good for managing your stress throughout the day. It doesn't have to be something you sit down for an hour and do. It could be a couple minutes in the morning, a couple minutes after a stressful event in the middle of the day, or it could be a bedtime thing. But again, a gratitude journal, sit and journal for a couple of minutes about things that you're grateful for, or things that relax you, or things that make you happy. Your reticular activating system is a function of your brain that says, okay, when I'm thinking about something, that's the way I feel, or that's what I see in the world. So if you're writing down positive things or things that are, make you happy, then it just draws your focus, your attention to those things, and you tend to have a general sense of well-being if those are the things you're focusing on consistently. So a 10-second breath is another thing that you can do. It'll teach you. Just put your hand on your belly. I'll teach you how to do my 10-second breath. And if you have any kind of respiratory illness, so this might be challenging for you today, but you want to always breathe with belly. Fill the belly with air. So belly and then, and not just in the chest. You'll get the most bang for your buck on your breath. You really deliver the oxygen to your systems. So you breathe in for 4 seconds. You'll hold the breath for 2 seconds and then exhale for 4 seconds. We can try it together. So sit nice and tall in your chair. So breathe in. Do it again. it is relaxing. It slows it triggers your parasympathetic nervous system, it slows your body system. So that's a good thing to do in the middle of the day, do it a couple times. Makes you feel kind of, whew, maybe a little bit out of breath if you're not used to it, but you could even do, we could work up to it. You could do 3 seconds, pause for 1, 3 seconds out. It's a really good exercise to practice because many of us get shallow in our breath and we breathe just right here in our chest as opposed to our belly. And that's not a good habit. And you'll release a lot of tension, a lot of stress hormones when you're breathing properly. So the big deep breaths trigger your body to get rid of the stress hormones as opposed to pump them out. So that's a big one, and then we'll practice a little bit more of that kind of relaxation breathing at the end. Your healthy surroundings is the 6th macro habit. You have to have some healthy surroundings if you want to really thrive in your health. So your environment is your built environment, so your house, your home, your apartment, wherever you live, but it is also, or the places you spend your time throughout the day, but it's also the people who are encouraging you. That's a big part of your environment. So one thing you can do is to share your accomplishments in your health. So have someone who's your health accountability partner. So ask someone today, it can be your nephew or your sister or your neighbor or whoever, to check in with you daily or weekly. How is your health? How are those 64 ounces of water coming along? Are you doing your 5-minute walk? Are you taking a couple of minutes to do your 10-second breath? Decide what your habits of health are, your little micro habits that you're going to work on. Decide what they are and share them with someone. And share those victories once you've accomplished it. Maybe keep it in a little journal or report each day that you do them. That's a big one. And then invite someone to just come along for the ride with you. If you have someone in your life you care about, you may even feel like you're really healthy. This happens sometimes. But there's someone you love that's not really healthy. And so you invite them to do a health practice with you. And that's a really big deal. I coach a lot of married couples, and that is a big reason why. Because the spouse is like, she needs it or he needs it, so I'll get myself a little healthier in order to inspire my loved one. That happens a lot. So bring someone along on the journey with you, and that is a huge layer of support, encouragement, community, really big. So, any questions about that? The 6 macro habits. I'll stop talking because you're going to start to zone out soon. I know it's getting near lunchtime and all that good stuff. So let's do a little mini workout. Gosh, it's already, is it really 11:24? Apparently it is. I've talked a long time. So we're going to do this right at our chair. You don't have to stand up, but you're welcome to. You can stay seated or you can stand, or do a little bit of both. A couple of these are specifically standing, but you can do them in your chair. So these are things you can do. I encourage people to do the 1 minute of every hour exercise. These are some perfect exercises to stick in there. Even if you've been to the Y, or if you've had your daily walk, or you've gone to your class, these are extras just to increase your movement throughout the entire day. So first one, ankle circles. Literally, just lift your leg. And so we're not just increasing the mobility in our ankle joint, we're also extending at the knee. So then we're activating this big quad muscle. That's a big one. Okay, I'm gonna get the other leg. I'm not a rep counter, so I don't like to do 1, 2, 3, although some people do. I do everything for time. So I set a little timer when I'm gonna do my workout, and if it's a 10-minute workout today, go both directions with the ankles, then I just set a little timer and I just watch the time go, and usually it's every 30 seconds or a minute, I switch to a new exercise. That's just the way that makes me happy when I exercise. I don't want to count and keep track, I just want to think about how my body feels. I don't want to actually think. And then a leg circle. So you actually leave the ankle where it is and circle the leg. And you're just moving the hip, strengthening right here. Going in both directions, obviously. Obviously, when you're standing, this leg's working too. And we got to get the other leg. I'm not counting, by the way, just so you know. This is very unofficial. do a side leg raise. This is a hip strengthener. This is really, really important for, it's important for everybody, but it's really, really good to have strong hips. And you don't want to raise your legs so high that it tips you over. This is not, I'm a little teapot. This is a hip strengthener. So not too high. And if you want a balance challenge, you can extend one arm, or you can extend the other arm. Be safe. Don't do that if you have balance issues. But you're literally just raising. And you're going to feel this in both hips. Everybody's hip burning a little bit right here. Just right here. Okay, and then do the other side. This is an easy one. I do this when I'm on the phone. Or if I'm watching my kids play or waiting for them to eat breakfast after the 20th hour. I'm like, just finish your eggs. Then I'll stand up and do a little movement. And it's good to do with kids too. Whoever the children are in your life. If you have grandkids, or if you watch your neighbor's kids or whoever, really, really good to get them involved in this movement. They are never too little. My 4-year-old will do jumping jacks, push-ups, boat pose, I mean, you name it. Yoga, she is on it. If I suggest a challenge, she's on it. So the next one
Yeah, you can.
is going to be arm circles. So move with the upper body. And you can do a small circle, like the size of a plate, or you can do a big, big circle, as long as you don't hear too much cracking and popping. It's okay to do that. Make sure you switch directions halfway through. If you're watching your timer, maybe after 10 seconds, or each 10-second, or if you're going to switch. So each of these exercises, go back the other way, could be done in a 1-minute interval for that 1 minute of the hour. These are the types of things that you can do if you don't want to get up and go to your workout class. You just want to move a little bit. These are the things. And then pause and do wrist circles. Now this looks like a wrist exercise, but it's really a sneaky shoulder exercise, because if you have to extend your arms out to the side, anyone feel that shoulder burn right here? Yeah, it should start to shake and burn a little bit in the shoulder. That's a really good one. And when you're doing standing exercises, check your posture. Bring your hips under your shoulders, draw your navel to your spine, and make sure you're stacked. Make sure that your shoulders aren't in front of your hips or behind your hips. It's a good test. Knees really shouldn't be locked out. You should have just a little soft knee. Next one, shrugs. Literally bring your shoulders up to your ear, squeeze, like you're lifting weights. And relax. And squeeze. This is great to strengthen your traps, big trapezius muscle right in here. This is a relaxing one, I think, too. Get a little, there's tension there. Get a little chance to release it with each movement. Chair squats are next. If you have bum, hips, or knees, you don't have to do this, but you stand in front of your chair. And you can get a couple inches in front of your chair if you like, but you don't have to. Arms are extended out here for balance. And you literally just tap and stand. And tap and stand. That is the best way to learn how to squat, because it keeps you from tipping forward. Because you've got to sort of imagine, and you can even put your hands back if you need to keep yourself accountable, keep yourself honest. And some people, when they try to squat independent of the chair, they squat forward like this. And that's from the knees. So you want to squat back. Down, up. Do this for a minute, and you'll really be out of breath. It's strange but true. I'm like, okay, we're going to exercise. We're going to stand up and sit down multiple times. It feels like a real workout. And your form is great. Everyone right now has beautiful form. But if I told you to go over here and start doing some squats, you'd be like, woo! It's amazing what the chair does. You just need a placeholder. Next one is a chair lunge. Now this can be standing or seated. I like to stand, but excuse me, one hand on the back of the chair and stand 1 foot back. We've got a couple feet between your feet. And then all you do is just put a slight bend in front of you. Now resist the temptation to pitch forward with your chest. If you keep your chest lifted, you'll lengthen the hip flexor right here. The natural tendency is to go forward with the knee, but we're trying not to do that. So you feel a nice stretch right here, and you're also strengthening the hip here. Feel a little bend. And some of you guys are already doing it, but if you want to do it repetitive, tap your back toe back a little further, and you can just lower and lift a couple of inches. Woo! That is a tough exercise. It's not for someone who's an injury, but make sure you can see your toe in the front. So when I'm in my lunge position, my knees should be kind of over my shoelaces, not covering my toe. So if I can't see my toe, I need to back it up. That's a good one. So make sure you're doing both sides with that. This is a perfect stretch to do. It's great for a balance challenge too. You test your balance, strengthen your core. So stand beside the chair for safety. But bring your body take it off balance. Take away your equilibrium there and try to correct. Try to correct yourself. Yeah. Very good. After a lot of chair squats and a lot of sitting in general, our hip flexors get really short. And the result of that is that our glutes get weak. And the result of that is when we walk, we pitch forward. And that naturally happens with aging. But if your glutes are stronger and your hip flexors are longer, you stand up taller. And you walk with more confidence, you walk safer, leaner, all that stuff that goes with it. So the lunges are great. A knee raise, a balanced knee raise is another one. You can do this seated or standing. If you would like to have a seat, you can. Really simple. So this is a core strengthener because you're actually using your core muscles here to raise the knee. And it's also a hip strengthener down here because you've got to stabilize with the hip in order to get that knee up. So if I was doing my chair, then I would probably put my arms out to the side, but you don't have to, but that helps with the balance exercise. It gives you more of a balance. And you can alternate, or you can just do it repetitively. Whether you're seated or standing, you're still going to get a core workout because I want you to have really great posture while you're doing it. Good. Perfect. Okay. Next, like I said, I'm not keeping track, so you might be lopsided when you walk out of here. I should have probably timed it for you. The next one is a calf raise. I like to stand behind my chair for this. Stand up nice and tall. Stack your shoulders right over top of your hips, and your knees right over top of your ankles, your hips right over top of your knees, and just raise all the way up on your toes, all 5 toes, and drop, and lift, and drop. And as you lift, protect your spine by engaging the core muscles, drawing your belly to belly button to spine. I know it's not going to get there, I get that. Our goal is to draw it in tight. And if you want a balance challenge, you can raise one hand. You'll activate the core even more if you have less balance. And you can feel those calf muscles cramping up a little bit. I didn't need to do the lunge again after this. Really great way to increase blood flow in the low body, strengthen the calf, and get balanced. You can even come up for an extra balance challenge and do 1, 2, woo, stay close to the chair if you do that. I don't want to fall down. It's not safe for everybody. If you're feeling crazy today, go for it. That's a great one. And then the last one is the wall push-up. And this can be done on the chair too, but I'm just demonstrate. If you guys want to spread out and try it, you're welcome to. But this is for chest, triceps, and shoulders. And so I'm going to stand next to the wall and I'm going to walk out a couple feet, maybe 3 feet, and put my hands right in front of my shoulders, and lower and press. So it's just like a military press push-up you do on the floor, only you have more leverage, so it's a little simpler. Easy to have good form. Really, really easy. You can do this anywhere. I do this with my kids like in the doctor's office when we're waiting.
Great.
I do it on the kitchen counter as the dinner is cooking. Just about anywhere you can do any of these, just about anywhere, which is really vital that you don't feel like you need to go to a facility for exercise to make your exercise happen. That is probably the vital thing. Any questions about any of those? Okay, so we'll do a little, we're almost out of time, we'll do a little 5-minute relaxation exercise. So have a seat, I'll sit right in front of you. I don't know if we can get the lights. Oh, yeah. Let's turn the lights off. I know it's bright here, but it's easier if it's a little bit dim. Give us belly. Sit all the way back in your chair, feet flat on the floor, hand on your belly to keep you accountable for breathing in your belly and not just your chest. Put some groovy tunes on. We'll see what I've got here. I can find my, here it is. I think ocean is pretty good for relaxation. A rainy day, no, not water. I'll find you a good one, hold on. There's a fan and air purifier on here. It's kind of funny. Oops. Relaxation, where is it? I'm gonna do the wind chime, I kinda like this one. No, sorry, that's not gonna work. A dishwasher, a concert, a heartbeat, I kid you not, there's everything. Okay. Okay. We do a little ocean, a little tropical meditation today. So hand on your belly, close your eyes, let your other hand just relax, hang loose. And I want you to start your 4-second breath. Breathe in for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 2, and breathe out, 3, 2, 1. Continue the breath. I'm going to go quiet for a couple minutes so you can relax. Your shoulders relax. Let your shoulder blades slide down your back. Wiggle your fingers. Make sure there's no tension in your hands. You may want to put the tip of your tongue on the back of your top teeth. Relax your throat and jaw. If your breathing is getting really slow and regular, you can put your hands on your thighs and relax both hands and arms. Your hips a little wiggle, knees a little wiggle, and make sure your thighs and hips are relaxed, you're not holding any tension. Let your body get very heavy in your chair, feet very heavy on the floor, hands very heavy in your lap. Wiggle your ankles just a little bit and your toes. Make sure your feet are nice and relaxed. No tension left in your ankles and feet. Okay, when you're ready, go ahead and move your fingers and toes, open your eyes. Couple shoulder rolls, so you're nice and relaxed. And you should feel a lot of breath in your body, a little bit more calm in the mind, a little bit more relaxed in the muscles, joints. If you did that for a couple minutes every day, think how great you'd feel. Anyone gonna commit to trying at least once this week? Ooh, I love it. Crowd participation. Love it.
Have you been
Yes.
I did it for many years. I love it.
Oh, Tai Chi is great. She asked if I've done it. Wonderful movement. Very gentle, very calming. If you get the opportunity to try it, please do. You guys are wonderful. Any other questions at all? My clock just popped up. Do you know it's 11:43? These people got places to be. So that's that. I have business cards if anybody's interested in talking a little bit more about health. If you have questions, you're welcome to email me. Or if you want to, I'll put a sheet out here. If you want me to message you on Facebook. A lot of my clients follow me on Facebook because I post healthy recipes and exercises. So you're welcome to write down, just whatever your Facebook name, your actual name is on Facebook. Or put your email down if you want, to chat about more of your questions. And then if you want to share this with someone you know who needs to be healthier,